When Avidyne announced what was originally configured as Entegra 2 and became R9, the first airframe selected was the obvious SR-22 and later SR-20 line. These are hard-charging, hard-flying, hard-working airplanes. Perfect airplanes for a new type of avionics system that emphasized usability as well as capability. Over the year that we've been flying R9, we can tell you they've been right on track. But the most important thing for the foreseeable future is to make sure that our aircraft are as easy to use as we want them to be. And hence, there are a number of other aircraft lines that are just begging for the R9 treatment. Avidyne is in the process of certifying the next set of airframes for the R9 generation. It'll be PA-46s, Matrices, Malibus, Meridians. Hard-charging, hard-working, hard-flying airplanes that, once again, are put in the air constantly, are getting their owners and companies and people from place to place, where the single-pilot IFR environment can be even tougher than we find in the Cirrus, because many of these airplanes are known ice. Many of these airplanes, especially the Meridian series, are turbine and working in hard environments where every little bit of usability and ease counts. So let's take a look at the first implementation, currently experimental, for R9 and a PA-46 Piper Matrix. We're looking forward to it. Come on along. We're testing the capabilities of R9 on board a PA-46 Matrix. One of the darlings of the Piper fleet right now, and certainly one of the most affordable high flyers around, and a very capable airplane in a number of configurations. But R9 takes us to a new level. R9 means not only can you do all the things that you're normally used to doing, but now you can do it with an ease of use and a methodology that have been heretofore missing from today's class panels.
Now, another moment of freedom from Cirrus Aircraft. Freedom through safety. Perhaps the ultimate freedom is confidence, assurance, and peace of mind. We design it into every personal aircraft we build. It's the security that comes with knowing you're flying the plane with a parachute. The breakthrough concept that launched the Cirrus phenomenon.
The PA-46 airframe series. Why is this next in the R9 generation?
Well, the goal was the same for this airplane as the Cirrus. It's a owner-flown, particularly hard IFR kind of airplane. This group of pilots flies a lot of IFR. They fly in ice, they fly in weather, and R9 reduces workload for flying instruments. And we'll do the same as we did for your airplane. You're well familiar with R9, and we've done the same thing in the Matrix, I think, as we did for the Cirrus. And I think it'll be really appreciated by this group of pilots.
Now, as nice as the implementation is in the Matrix, which is a two-tube installation, what particularly gets me excited is the Malibu and Meridian crowd. This implementation, which will be a three-tube installation and take advantage of onboard radar and so forth, which is still under development, that sounds like a really exciting setup. Tell me how that's going to work.
Well, it'll be very similar to this. In fact, we're developing the structures portion for the three-tube installs on this airplane. But the Matrix doesn't have an approved weather radar at this point. The Malibus and Meridians do. So we need a little additional I/O. The third tube will add that. That'll still be a 2 ADAHRS airplane, but the third box will not have an ADAHRS, but it will have I/O for radar. That's in a very soon-to-be-released software version to cover the Mirage and Meridian. This initial STC will be simply for the Matrix.
And now what's the timetable for full implementation for the 46 fleet?
We're trying to make that happen this year. This STC we expect to be done in August. The others to follow in the fourth quarter probably.
Now obviously you had quite a few teething pains like you do with any development effort, getting everything in the SR-22 series. However, things seem to be going a bit smoother with time in grade, so to speak, both from a standpoint of your own familiarity with the system as well as the FAA's.
We did this installation in 3 weeks, and that's starting with a new airplane not configured with R9. We utilized the harness assembly that we sell in the Cirrus kit. We had to add some lengths and do a few things, move some sensor boxes around the airplane, but we accomplished the installation in 3 weeks. Then at the end of a major alteration, you normally do what we call the smoke test. You turn the airplane on and see what works. In this case, everything worked. We really had no rework or troubleshooting to do, so it was a very smooth install for us, so we were very happy about that. And by us modifying the the harness will have a version 4 matrix, so it'll be plug and play like the Cirrus installs for the dealers who do it.
The beauty of the Release 9 system architecture is that you have 2 fully redundant integrated flight displays. Each has access to all the systems and data. Providing full redundancy and eliminating traditional reversionary modes, Release 9 allows either display to be configured as the PFD. Now your failure modes are much more manageable because you can continue to fly with the same familiar display symbology without the need to relearn composite modes you don't typically fly with. Avidyne's Entegra Release 9 is truly the next generation in fully integrated flight deck technology.
Now, you had some placement issues to deal with because unlike the Cirrus, which is a side stick and so forth, you've got a yoke in the way of things, and it's a pretty good-sized yoke, and a cavernous panel in which to put anything you wanted anywhere you wanted to go. You had some interesting ergonomic issues to deal with. How did that work out?
Well, it's a cavernous panel, but like you said, there's a large yoke that has a lot of movement, and then there's a very tall throttle quadrant and wide throttle quadrant. So the placement of the keyboard was the primary difficulty, and I think we found a placement where you've got full view of it around the yoke while not being obstructed or causing you to bump into the throttle when using the keyboard. So I think the installation we wound up with is ergonomically very useful. I've flown it airplane cross country, Florida to Ohio, and had no problems with it in turbulence or otherwise. So I'm really happy with what we came up with.
This seems, once again, like just an absolutely perfect match between R9 and an airframe. I mean, once again, hard-working, hard-flying, hard-charging airplanes. Where does this go in the future?
Well, hopefully it crosses the entire PA-46 line. Piper obviously has great interest. What they'll do, I can't answer that right now. And we'll obviously migrate to other airplanes with the larger display formats and additional screen layouts. So the capability of this architecture can go all the way into the jets, and at some point it will.
And let's face it, the one thing that's very obvious from what's coming down the pike, reg-wise and system-wise and so forth, the single-pilot IFR environment is not going to get easier. It's going to get more complex. It's going to get more limiting. It's going to get more tasking. And anything that we can do to bring the pressure off the pilot and onto a system that's there to serve him, we're so much better, and ultimately we're talking a serious benefit to aviation safety.
Oh, I agree completely. And you know, I have the choice occasionally flying our older Avidyne equipment against the R9. And if I'm going to make a hard IFR flight, there's hands down, I want to fly the R9. It makes my life much easier, particularly if I'm flying into complex airspace. And as things get more complicated, that's nearly going to be a requirement for a guy who's going to fly regularly.